If you enjoy this content, please take a moment to rate and review it. Your feedback will greatly impact our ability to reach more people. Thank you. Vic, how's it going?
Go well. Got a big weekend with my son's prom this weekend.
Awesome.
So that's fun. Yeah, he's a senior prom. We're hosting 23 seniors for dinner.
Wow. Of course you are.
My house can hold, maybe 12. So it can't rain.
Yeah,
if it rains,
right.
we're in big trouble. But
Yeah.
it'll be fun. And so we'll see. You get to see them all dressed up and whatever.
Oh, that's awesome,
yeah, it'll
man.
be fun.
That's exciting. Yeah. Hopefully it will not rain. Hopefully we've had all the rain we can handle.
I think it's going to stop and then just be beautiful. But that's just me positive thinking.
Well, knock on wood for that for you. This was a good week on our end. My dad is rallying again from his latest, health thing, but he's rallying, which is really good. So we're excited about that. And then you went to the GNPCA, Greater Nashville Private Capital Association State of the Market thing last night.
That was good. Stuart McWhorter, who is the chairman of ECD for Tennessee.
Yep.
Interviewed, I don't know their names, a guy from Cambridge Associates who came down for it, and a Raymond James banker.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was state of the market. And I think, as we talk about every week, the market is pretty chaotic.
Yeah.
But they talked through things, and it was good. More good to see everyone before and after and just catch up. The content was fine, but I like catching up with everyone there.
Yeah. Cambridge Associates has a lot of data on the market. So that's
and they because we're VCs, I'm a favorite. They made the point that if you stopped allocating to venture in 2009 and 10 and 11, or in 2020 and 2021, you really missed the huge bounce back or market appreciation.
Right.
So that I like.
Got to be in the game.
And, you got to be in the game sort of consistently.
Got to be in the game. And in the world, it does feel like this was not the most chaotic week that we've had in a minute.
Yeah.
Even though we have a lot to talk about, it didn't feel like there was that much chaos abound, and maybe more congealing of okay, we've turned the world upside down. Now let's see if we can make sense of it and come to some new terms. We're going to talk about all that.
Yeah, I think Monday was was the low point.
Yeah.
And then
that's right.
we're now coming back.
Yeah,
so hopefully
that's right.
That's right.
All right. So with that, let's dig in. Starting with the economy. So we're going to run through a series of stories to try to capture just all of the craziness that happened in tariff land this week. Because there was a lot. And it was really sort of focused on USA and China. Those were definitely the headline players. I think every podcast that I listen to used the words trade war. So I think that's sort of an official position on where we are. But it also feels like maybe we're about to wind that down and get to some productive negotiations. So the first story you've pulled together here from the Wall Street Journal: Fed tariff fears send Dow down more than 900 points. So blue chip index heads for its worst April since 1932.
Yes. So this was on Monday. And there was, of course, tariff fears, but also the fear that Trump would fire Jerome Powell.
Right.
And that's what people were worried about on Monday. It was down 3%, a little over 3%.
Yep. Okay. So then next, tech shares drive stocks higher for a third straight session. The NASDAQ composite is up more than 5% this week on trade deal optimism. So what happened there?
Yeah. So this was sort of to not bury the lead through all the different things. By Thursday night, we'd had 3 up days in a row.
Right.
And I think it's been pretty clear that Trump is maybe not happy with the Fed, but he's not going to make a change. And so that sort of, maybe every president has different opinions of Fed policy, but everyone's much more happy that there's no major change there. And then there's hope that there'll be some kind of negotiated settlement in this trade war. I don't know that there's much data around that, but hope.
So some of that hope stems from a sense that we're going to be de-escalating the trade war. Trump is talking about how the 145% tariffs were, probably at the upper end of what we and also I think G said, we're kind of stopping there and we'd like to come back to the table. So there's talks of the two of them meeting before the end of this quarter. And there's just a sense that everyone feels like everyone has sort of realized that this is the mutually assured destruction society. Let's not push the entire global economy off the cliff. Because these are the two powers, right? Like we're the big buyers, they're the big manufacturers, right? And we've got to find a path forward. There has to be a way that these two massive countries can continue to do trade that's functional, both for our respective nations, but for the rest of the world. Yeah,
I agree. And I'm hopeful. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot to be negotiated, but it seems like we are, at least Trump is making noises that sound like we could get to some agreement.
Yeah, the key points in this story here are the Trump administration considers reducing tariffs on Chinese imports to de-escalate trade tensions. Tariffs could come down to roughly between 50 and 65%, which I think most people have figured out how to factor into their economic model. Most of the people that I've talked to that are impacted by tariffs said they had budgeted for 60%. Right. So the 50 to 65, now you're in the zone. That 100+ stuff was just non-functional. A tiered approach considered 35% levies for items the U.S. deems not a national security threat and at least 100% levies for items deemed strategic to America's interest. And then finally, China signaled it was open to trade talks, but warned it wouldn't negotiate under continued threats from the White House. I mean, of course, that, why would they posture anything different than that?
Yeah, that's right.
And then Secretary Bessent said that the China tariffs are not sustainable alongside Trump's comments from the Oval Office.
Yeah. And I choose to believe that this was coordinated. I think it is
I would agree with
unlikely that Bessent said anything without Trump being aware of what he's going to say.
Good cop, bad cop here.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's what I think this was. Good cop, bad cop, right? So totally agree. But I think also this gave investors some comfort as well, because the investors are constantly looking to Bessent like, hey, are you in control here or what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was an important, anecdote to point out. DHL is suspending their high-value deliveries to the U.S. Amid the tariff turmoil. So, look, the Jiu-Jitsu Academy that I'm part of, our professor has a clothing brand. I've been working with him on it a little bit, and there was a big, shipment that came in, and it right at the beginning of the tariff talk, we hadn't even gotten quite to Liberation Day yet, and it was stuck in customs for like 3 weeks, and there's all sorts of even post getting it out, there was all sorts of madness around. Okay, well, did we pay the duty? I mean, we did pay the duty, but the manufacturer from China, is saying, oh, well, I don't know if I got the money from the duty. So it's really complicated, these international, shipping processes.
Yeah. And it is complicated, and moving it every hour makes it more complicated.
Yeah.
And yet we have to be able to ship things across country lines in some kind of efficient way. And DHL literally just stopped. We can't hold this and act like we're going to deliver when we can't. We don't know what the process is.
And DHL is a very big international shipper.
I think they're the biggest.
Yeah. Very big international shipper. So that's, that's not small news.
No.
That's not small news at all.
Bessent said, I think he said it best, the tariff with China was an embargo. We're just not trading with China.
Right.
Which is not sustainable.
No.
I mean, that's not going to work.
No, not long-term sustainable. So, other things, knock-on effects of all this craziness. Home sales in March fell 5.9%, the biggest drop since 2022. I had seen this equivalent story on X, the Kobayashi letter. They were pointing out a chart from the Fed that effectively said the same thing.
Yeah, and what makes me a little nervous is that, people buy a home over a few months. So this is, we probably haven't reached the bottom of this. All these sales have been in process for a couple months. And so I think even though it's the biggest drop since 2022, I'm fearful that it's sort of the beginning of the home sale effect.
Oh yeah. No, listen, I'm seeing all sorts of, screenshots, of different areas and just looking at how much inventory there is. South Florida, DC, unbelievable amounts of unsold inventory on the market in those.
Yeah, the South Florida condo market is terrible.
Yeah, really, really bad, right? And at the same time, I don't know that this is happening everywhere, but our assessor here in Nashville finally has caught up. Like, we were behind. And so on average, I don't know if you know this, but there's 45% increase on property taxes here in Nashville. And I would imagine we're not the only metro.
I'm sure I'm getting that. I just don't know it yet.
Yeah. On average, not every single district, but on average, 45% increase.
Yeah.
Across Davidson County, Metro Nashville. So I would imagine we're not the only metropolitan area that's going to be receiving. So you get a double whammy.
Right.
You can't sell your house, and your taxes are getting a 50% increase.
Yeah. Yeah. And we haven't even seen some of the job losses that I think are coming through the NIH into the academic medical centers and all that stuff. So I'm hopeful that this works out with China quickly, but I think the second quarter, even though we're at the beginning of it, I still think second quarter is going to be pretty painful.
Yep. So this is a big deal data point for us to continue to watch. Because
home sales. I mean, that's where most Americans have their net worth.
Yes.
Their whole net worth.
Yes. And when the stock market shaves off $1.5 trillion in a day, and you also can't sell your home, that's a dark day for the for the middle class. But stocks rebound as Wall Street latches onto hope for tariff easing. So we did get a rebound.
Yeah. So this chart I like to end on because you can see we were down for Monday. It was down dramatically, and then we ended up.
Yeah, today, I mean, it's been weeks that we've been doing the show. And when you look at the tickers at the top of, WSJ.com, all red except for the VIX.
Right.
And this is the
today,
first day.
Everything was green.
This is the first day in weeks that we've come in here where it's all green and the VIX is red. Yeah. Right. So that's really, really positive. So that, how long did it take us to do that? It's 10-minute rundown on like this week.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, and if you were to watch the news every day, you'd be.
Don't.
Yeah, you shouldn't. I think you shouldn't.
No. Just take a deep breath,
right?
And once a week, try to surmise what happened over the course of that week,
right?
Because it's a complete roller coaster.
Yeah,
from day to day, complete roller coaster. And I do have to say, like when Paul Kaplan was on the show, he was talking about Trump's energy, and I do think it's pretty remarkable that a guy his age has the stomach. For this kind of roller coaster.
Yeah.
To drive it, to push it to this level of volatility.
Yeah. I mean, he thinks he's doing really impactful changes to the world economy. I don't know if he is or not, but I think he is. He has a lot of energy to do something.
It's going to take a long time for it to all shake out.
Yeah.
We're definitely not close to getting an outcome on this.
Yeah.
All right, switching to the VC rundown, we are starting with Fierce Healthcare. Nutrition counseling startup Nourish clinches $70 million to expand services. So this is a dietitian company.
Yeah.
They've been, pretty well known for a while now.
Oh yeah. This is their B round.
Yeah.
It's a good company. There's several that are sort of in this space. We did a guest show with Nourish RX. It's a very similar name.
Yes.
But I think we need more nutrition counseling in general. So there's plenty of market opportunity for all of them.
Yep. So $70 million round. It's a Series B led by JP Morgan Private Capital, and returning investors are Thrive Capital, Index Ventures, Y Combinator, and others. So great group around the table there. So congrats to Nourish. Healthee, this HEALTHEE, not a Y at the end. Mm-hmm. Healthee lands $50 million to streamline benefits. So this is a health benefits navigation startup. Their $50 million is in a Series B led by Q1 Capital. That's a new name for me.
Yeah.
Previous investors, Fin Capital, know them. Gliot, I don't know how to say that. That's a weird name. And then Group 11 was also in this one. So I know Fin Capital, I know Group 11. I don't know Q1. That's a new one for me. But what are they basically doing? They're using AI to help HR departments help their employees to navigate their benefits.
Yeah. It caught my attention because I was at a board meeting this week, and just like at dinner the night before, I was talking to the CTO. He created this for his own company because he needed to figure out, like, for his wife, how do we navigate benefits? So I think it's a needed thing. How defensible it is, I don't know. But an AI tool just allows you to navigate, like, okay.
Doesn't seem tremendously defensible.
I don't think it's that defensible.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But reading the article, it says that they weren't even thinking about raising a round, and Q1 approached them. Yeah. So listen, if you can get capital like that, that means you probably got it at great terms. So good for them. Back to Fierce Healthcare. New startup Superpower scores $30 million to offer personalized health testing. So let's see, they're in the preventative health and longevity space. Exactly. So is this? So what's the big player in that space right now? Function.
Yes.
Function Health is the big player in the longevity personalized tests. You get your blood test 4 times a year, et cetera, et cetera.
It's a competitor to them.
Yeah. And then Inside Tracker, I guess, would also be part of that group, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's, it's a cash pay, and there's a lot of people that are interested in sort of getting more information on all their metrics. And then I think you can make meaningful change.
Yeah. And then you get text access to a real concierge physician team. I probably should not say this, but these guys, so they have a picture of the guys who are, okay, fine.
I think it's better to be kind.
Fine. They look like guys that came together at Summit at Sea and are really well connected and were able to raise $30 million. So good for them. Good for them. It's kind of like the IV space is becoming a crowded space, but it's also a growing market. And so, is there a room for another one of these? I'm not entirely sure. I know that you do have to tap into that entire ecosystem, the manosphere, and right now, Huberman's backing Function Health and a bunch of those other guys are backing Function Health. So I'm assuming they've got some influencers and some big, health/manosphere podcast people that are signed up to help promote this. Otherwise, I don't think you have viability in this space because there's not that big of a market, and everyone sort of listens to the same people.
Yeah.
So I don't know who they've got, but they've got somebody like that.
Maybe. I'm more interested in bringing solutions to kind of middle America chronic disease patients than I am optimizing a 35-year-old in San Francisco. But there is a market there. It's just not that exciting.
Yeah. I mean, we've done and we continue to do stuff in the consumer health and wellness space, but generally speaking, it's novel in some meaningful way. Like I think about Pheno. I mean,
Yes.
That's their smart brush is pretty novel, right? So, okay, Overture Life raises $20.6 million for IVF automation. That's interesting. The word automation with IVF. So what is that? So, was it the supply chain?
IVF is going through a huge transition on all fronts to bring technology to bear, and there's a lot of ethical things around that, but I think it's interesting to sort of follow, keep up with. But yeah, they're bringing efficiency to kind of the process of how you actually do it, and so that they automate the process with robotics, and they have different freezing technology. I don't know. I think it is interesting. There's a whole bunch of technologies in this space, so.
I mean, look. It's got wind at his back because President Trump is pushing it big time, and also, generally speaking, I mean, people are very grateful for IVF when it works, but it also is pretty arduous process. So I mean, it's both going to grow in demand, I believe, and also is a space that needs improvement, like every space. But I think really, IVF
it's expensive. It is pretty difficult on the woman's body.
Yes, it's hard,
and it's not all that successful.
Yeah.
And so bringing technology and automation and improving the whole process will make it better, cheaper, faster, more effective over time.
Yep.
When that comes, I'm not sure, but
agree. What we got here? Nashville Business Journal. HCA veterans raised $10 million to launch PathPoint Health. I actually didn't even see this. Grant Rutledge. Grant was in my fellows class.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
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 He's the CEO.
Shit. What is he doing here?
It's metabolic health. So, metabolic health is sort of.
Oh, Grant, I'm proud of you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I need to reach out to him. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, this is the space that I think is really needed, and they already have. We're still working on getting it lined up.
Yeah, go ahead.
They already have some deals worked out. I mean, as you would expect, spinning out of HCA.
Yeah.
With Ascension, probably your other buddy from Fellows, I think, is likely helping with that. But great, and I think a really important metabolic health is hard. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, Fahad was also in our class. So
that's what I mean.
happened.
That's what I mean. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't sure you were gonna. Oh, he's in the article.
Yeah, he's in the article. Yeah.
Right.
Dude, look, if it's innovation happening at Ascension, it's Fahad has got his hand on it. We can always say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good example of the Nashville ecosystem.
Oh, that's amazing,
working.
dude. That's so great. Okay, I don't want to make this podcast boring while I'm gushing over this, but I'm really happy for him. That's fantastic. Because he was a good operator. He was the COO at TriStar.
Yeah. I don't know him, but I know what his role was.
Good dude.
Yeah.
I'm glad you pulled that story in. All right, going to Axios Pro. BioLink raises $100 million Series C for glucose monitoring device. This is a big week in VC funding.
Yeah.
A lot of deals here. So BioLink is a developer of wearable glucose monitoring devices. They're going up against some giants here. Dexcom is the big dog in this space, right?
Right.
So $100 million Series C. It's not that much capital. So I'm interested in. So let's see
here. The CEO
what was that
left,
Dexcom?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Declined to comment on when he expects FDA clearance.
There's some reason he thinks he's building a better device.
Yeah. He's in San Diego, same place as Dexcom.
Right. So I wasn't aware we needed another continuous glucose monitoring device, but maybe we do. I mean, it's not clear to me what the different feature set is, but
it's interesting. It's pretty in the picture here.
Yes,
it's prettier than the Dexcom one. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, I think it's the graphically designed mock-up. But
yes, I'm sure that's part of like their product design is they want to make it prettier. All right, Wall Street Journal. So we're now into policy. We're off VC. Okay, that was a good haul.
Yeah.
Into policy. Trump's FDA sends a bullish signal to biotech. The new commissioner, Marty McCary, vows to back innovation, might ease fears stoked by HHS Chief Kennedy. Of course. I mean, we've talked about how Marty's a real guy, and kind of like Bessent, offsets Trump. For the investors, I think McCary's gonna offset RFK Jr. No question about it. No question about it.
Yeah, and I talked to a friend of the pod. I don't know if I can give his name.
You cannot.
But he's talking to him, and he's assembling a really good team around him too. So he's strong, and then he's bringing in a good team.
Yes,
I'm cautiously optimistic. I think the FDA upgrading and kind of streamlining the process. This could be great.
Dude, honestly, like I know CMS is massively important. And quite frankly, I wouldn't put Oz in the massively controversial category in terms of a pick. I mean, he's
a doctor. I mean, he's going to be reasonably friendly to providers.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's smart and he's knowledgeable and he's been engaged in the healthcare industry for a very, very long time. So I wouldn't
But he's not the same as McCary.
No, he's not. And also, I would say the FDA really is quietly the agency that I believe needs the most focus because of AI.
Yeah.
Like the FDA has got to figure out how it is going to redo. I mean, it's just like venture, right? Like we have to figure out how we're going to leverage AI differently to be able to process all these new deals that are going to be flowing as the capital, cost to launch a new company go through the floor.
Right.
So we have to figure that out. And the FDA, they had a backlog of thousands of submissions that they couldn't process, and their ruling for how they were assessing AI was the medical device, law from the 70s. So they have a lot of really important work to do, and I think they got the right guy.
Yeah, and we should lead this as a country, right? Not wait for some other country to figure it out. And yes, they have the right guy, and I think it's positive.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Oh man, so X Vic is where I see all the crazy stuff.
Yes.
So I can't even remember who the handle was, but they were like, I cannot believe what I just read on covid.gov. And I, of course, clicked it.
Right.
And then this page comes up. And then there was the actual White House tweet on X that said, definitely don't click on covid.gov. First of all, the White House.
Wait, I didn't see that. The White House said do not click on it?
Have you seen the White House social accounts, Vic?
No, I don't follow them. Maybe I need to.
Full on troll accounts.
But they're trolling their own website.
Like everything. There is a Gen Z person running the White House socials, okay, and they have been given a green light to go just full
do whatever,
full troll, full hardcore troll. It does not. We're not trying to.
There's no institutional proper communication.
No, and that's not exaggeration. It is. It's shocking. It's shocking. I mean, I don't think there is another country in the world today that is trolling like our White House account is trolling. I don't think there's a single one.
I'm not shocked about that. What I'm surprised about is, so they put out the covid.gov.
Yes.
And then they are posting trolling, like bad things against it, their own site.
They're not posting bad things against it. This site is a troll. The covid.gov, which then redirects to whitehouse.gov / lab leak, true origins of COVID-19. Like this page.
Yeah. So people that are listening,
it's comedy.
It is comedy.
It's comedy.
Or it's depressing, depending on how you look at it.
It's dark comedy.
It's dark comedy. It's lab leak, and then you have like a airbrushed image of Trump looking younger and slimmer than he looks, sort of marching into solve all the problems of the world.
He's 6'4", 220, No, that was a joke. That was a joke. You're not up on the X humor. You're not up on the X humor. No.
So anyway, and then they go through the lab leak stuff, which is not new.
No, it's not new, but it's never been officially recognized by the United States government. So okay, a couple things. One, I think landing on this is the origin of COVID-19 in a definitive way. It's probably not the worst thing for our government to be doing. Now, the presentation is always a different thing with Donald Trump. So do not take the what and the how as the same thing. I'm talking about the what. Landing on some final analysis that says this is what it is, especially as more and more people.
We're 5 years later.
We're 5 years later. Yes.
I think there's a pretty clear consensus that it was, I would say unintentionally escaped from a lab.
Yes.
Leak is kind of a funny word to use, but that's the word people have been using.
That's right. Yeah.
And the way that I've seen the science, it would be very difficult for this to evolve in a natural evolution kind of process.
Yeah.
So I think that's not that controversial. The style, like everything Trump does, is
the how. The how is something else. And I mean, it's one of the really interesting things about this Trump 2 is we were just talking about Commissioner McCurry, right? I mean, like they have look, I mean, whatever you think about Elon Musk, he's still, by many accounts, one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our generation, right? And especially when it comes to technical entrepreneurs. He has assembled an incredible group of people. And I would say the design of all the new White House stuff is really, really strong. Like the visual language.
Yeah.
I think it's super well designed. But then, you scroll down and there's like this picture of Fauci holding his head. This is where it's like, is this the Onion?
Right.
Like, is this the Onion or is this the White House website? Right. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a trolling website for sure. Andrew Cuomo failure. Like, what? Why is that? Why is this
that
even?
Has nothing to do with.
Why
the
is
topic.
that even necessary?
Right.
on a page that's talking about the true origins of COVID-19. That's clearly just like we're taking a pot shot. That's all we're doing here. So anyway, I just thought it was both blending something that was probably good and needed, which was a final analysis to say, hey, this is where we are, this is where this came from, but wrapped in this very well designed, dark, comedic troll page. Like, you know,
well,
and that's kind of what we're going to have to expect from our White House.
Yeah, and I think it's related to what your comments were about the White House X posts. There's no respect or sort of proper. There's a certain way that I'm used to our federal government behaving.
It's out,
and that is gone.
Out.
And I mean, Fauci made a bunch of mistakes. There's no reason to like throw him into the bus now. He's off. He's exited the stage. He's not around anymore. He's retired. I think it'd be much better for most of America, honestly, for Trump to say, this is what happened and let's move on, as opposed to like do all this like, I don't know, throw raw meat at the extremes and pick fights. There's no reason to pick a fight. He won. He's in the White House. He doesn't need to do that. But yes, that's not his style. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, the unofficial trolling policy of White House communications, you know, even down to the press secretary, you know what I mean, is just something I have no desire to get used to.
Yeah.
Moving to HFMA, Congressional Republicans signal on Medicaid cuts. So I love, look, I'm on the board. I'm very biased. But I've really grown to love the analysis that HFMA is doing in this time. I just think they're so on top of it right now, and really clearly spelling out the categories where the money is going to be, you know, pulled from, the size of the money, so you can start to really understand what the impact, particularly to health systems, is going to be. And so, you know, they've sort of analyzed what the most favored areas of G.O.P. Medicaid savings are. The top category is a reducing in the federal match for ACA enrollees. Emily has been talking about this for a while. $626 billion is projected to be saved in that. $109 billion in work requirements, and then another $22 billion in repealing the managed care rule. There've been a lot of discussions at the House where, you know, key members of the GOP are not for reducing kind of core Medicaid and access to Medicaid, because they know there's no way they'd be able to explain that to their constituents. And so I think it's going to be these types of more systemic changes that are going to be acceptable for passage in the House.
Yeah, and they're on leave right now, with that coming back next week.
Yeah.
I think the plan is to try to get some bill by Memorial Day. So this is all going to come to a head in the next month to 2 months. This article, I think, is really helpful. It doesn't really talk about the supplemental payments.
No, it doesn't cover that.
Which is another concern.
That's a big one.
But it's also a very complex topic that's hard to put in an article, because who knows what they're going to do.
Right.
So, I mean, in summary, people that are listening, it's, you know, 800 billion over 10 years, in mostly on the enrollees, work requirements, no match for federal taxes, that kind of stuff.
That's a lot of money coming out of the system.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, when we've talked about, I mean, let's measure it up. $4 trillion.
Yeah.
You're pulling out 800 billion.
Well, it's 800 billion over 10 years, so 80 billion.
Okay.
But still,
that's a chunk. That's a chunk.
Yeah.
That's a chunk, you know. Wall Street Journal, RFK Jr. unveils plan to phase out artificial food dyes. I think this was universally sort of applauded.
Yeah, this is needed, and there's a bunch of states that are thinking about it. It's much better to do it at the nationwide level, so that our food CPG companies can just change. And all the fear, uncertainty, and doubt around, can they find the materials? Can they do this? I don't buy, because they're producing it for Canada and Europe. So they have the recipes already. They just need to turn it on. And this gives all the companies the cover, just that, okay, now you have to do that. And there's no disadvantage because someone makes it in California and someone else makes it in Texas. That's ridiculous. So.
No, look, I mean, this is the part of RFK's agenda.
It's easy.
That is, it's easy, and it's going to be celebrated. And I think the longer he can stay focused on reining in big food, his popularity will continue to be very high. You know, if that's where he sticks, and you know, so far he hasn't jumped on the whole vaccine thing. You know, he has not been focused on that. He's been focused on the food.
I mean, he's been
industry.
talking about autism, but he's done it in a way that is much more science based.
Yes.
And we're going to have, I forget if it was 12 or 15 researchers who look into things, and whatever they come up with, which I think we should do.
Yes. So I think focus on food, and you'll be celebrated.
Yes.
RFK for sure. Okay. NPR, in a reversal, the Trump administration restores funding for women's health study. I mean, this, I think, had to be a byproduct of moving too quickly. You know, there's certain things it's so obvious. I mean, they had a big EO that went out this week around, you know, restoring merit, blah, blah, blah. It was like, you know, it's like they're trying to just kill DEI as much as they can. And everyone saw it. Everyone sees it. I mean, you know, I saw it back when the SCOTUS did the affirmative action decision. Right. So I'm numb to that now. I'm like, fine, whatever. You're going to do what you're going to do. But like the women's health stuff, I mean, it's half the population. What are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing? It's already ridiculously underfunded.
Yeah.
Like,
yes. And so it is great that they've restored it. Maybe it shouldn't have been cut in the first place, but at least it's restored.
Yeah, I don't understand how on one hand you're like fighting for women's equality in sports, you know, with all the transgender stuff, but then like you're stripping women's health studies of their funding. It's like
don't try to apply logic to it.
I know. I was just telling somebody else that today, and here I am trying to apply logic to it. Right? This is stupid. Healthcare Finance News.com. Arkansas governor signs bill banning PBMs from owning pharmacies. That's so
CVS.
That's a big one.
CVS may not. Well, but Optum doesn't operate pharmacies. I don't think.
Specialty pharmacies.
Specialty pharmacies.
Specialty. Yeah.
So they cannot operate pharmacies in Arkansas. So there's 35 CVSs in Arkansas.
Wow.
That are going to have to close.
Wow.
And I think I'm okay with the rule, but it's going to cause some challenges in those communities where they're closing stores. And so I don't know. It's a controversial. There are people on both sides of this. I have portfolio companies celebrating it and portfolio companies nervous about it, but it's a big thing. And then I think several states that are also looking at following.
It does feel like the PBMs are under sustained attack at this point. Like I think there's enough enemies of the PBM industry.
Yeah.
That they're going to continue to be assailed until there's some serious reform. I mean, it's everyone from Mark Cuban to Sarah Huckabee Sanders. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's a pretty broad group at this point going after them. And I
mean, I would say the horses left the barn 10 years ago. Like the PBM business model was used to hollow out retail pharmacy. And that has damaged our retail pharmacy
clearly
platforms. All of them are struggling.
All of them.
But
it's already happened.
That's already happened. That's 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about Rite Aid in a little bit.
Right. So there's changing it now is, I guess it's good to close the barn door, but the horse is already gone. Yeah. And like, you can't really make the business model work again.
Yeah.
But so I don't know.
Okay. You got another story here?
This is just Axios saying there's several states that are also following it.
Okay. We're going to keep moving.
Yep.
Wall Street Journal. Judge rules Google operates illegal ad monopoly. So it is really looking like Google and Meta are going to have to sell YouTube and Instagram.
I haven't heard YouTube.
They're talking about DoubleClick, but which is the ad business.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like I think they're going to keep going on Google because YouTube is the real asset. Like DoubleClick's kind of embedded. It's like a B2B thing. Okay, that's fine. YouTube's bigger than Netflix.
Yeah.
As a standalone company, right? It's bigger than Netflix.
Yeah.
And then Instagram. Did you see where Kevin Systrom came out and added commentary and said that after Zuckerberg acquired Instagram, he tried to starve it.
Oh yeah.
But he couldn't stop it because Instagram was just
the
interface was just so powerful, like it just grew to what it is today, right? Which is probably the most valuable Meta app.
Yeah. I think these are different things. So Google has lost 2 court cases, this story and the next one. It has been deemed by the court to operate an illegal ad monopoly. And then the next one.
Which by the way, we just have to say, it's so crazy how long it takes sort of the regulatory and judicial environment to catch up with these things versus the technology environment, because they finally got Google in their crosshairs. Meanwhile, like OpenAI is eating Google's lunch.
Yeah.
Like in real life, in actual market share, in actual dominance of SEO, in actual they're already about to be hollowed out.
Right.
Their monopoly is getting eaten out by the market right now, but they're getting the double whammy now with these antitrust.
So
cases.
I had not heard, and I am not sure that spinning off YouTube is going to be the remedy.
That's more industry conjecture. So I
think they're going to be forced to sell DoubleClick, and I think who cares? I mean, it's not a big piece.
I think that's my point. Is like DoubleClick is not meaningful.
That's what the court found them using unfairly.
I don't think it's meaningful.
Well, the remedies are not meaningful. So then go to the next story.
Instagram is meaningful.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different topic. Yeah. But just on Google. And then the next story is they also were found to, have a monopoly in search.
Yep.
And the government has asked.
Which they don't now because ChatGPT is eating their lunch. But go ahead. I mean, they don't. They don't.
They don't if you judge the market as any normal human would judge the market.
Yes.
The way they define the market in the court case, they used, search engines.
Right.
And they do.
Right.
And then
it's the same way they defined supermarket.
Right.
With the Kroger
right. Exactly. Yeah. And then they are asking for Google to be forced to spin off Chrome as a remedy.
That's a big deal. That
is a big deal. And
that's a really big deal.
My question that I want to talk about is, so the most likely buyer is OpenAI.
Yeah, dude, of course.
And I don't think there is a buyer. I cannot imagine a buyer of Chrome that would charge me to use Chrome.
No.
That's not possible.
No.
I mean, we have DuckDuckGo, we have these things, and they don't work because people don't want to pay for the browser.
No.
And so there's no one that would buy it unless they're going to use it for some monopolistic advantage. So what's the point?
So Vic, I think this is why the industry people are coming up with a logical idea, but not one that's practical for the court system, right? So spinning off YouTube would solve all these things and be logical and functional. That's logical,
right? That's not what they're going to do, but that would...
You spin it off, you have a new competitor to Netflix, it's in a completely different category.
Yeah.
It definitely impairs their enterprise value, like significantly.
Yes.
And then, now...
And it impairs their search and their ad and everything else.
Exactly. Right. It actually meaningfully impairs.
But it has revenue and can be a company on its own.
It's a standalone business. That's the point. It doesn't have to be acquired. It literally can run against Netflix.
Chrome, I mean, you could sell it to OpenAI, you could sell it to Amazon, but these places are going to subsidize the use of the browser for their own monopolistic advantage.
Of course.
which is the whole thing we're trying to get away from. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why that's beneficial. And then they pull in the DuckDuckGo guy who, in my mind, has a
agenda,
failed business or a struggling business. And he claims that Chrome should be worth $50 billion. And okay, but he's clearly biased with an agenda. I mean, he wants to claim that because then it makes DuckDuckGo worth
value
something that's not zero. The whole thing is crazy.
Dude, what's your issue with DuckDuckGo? I like DuckDuckGo.
It's fine. I mean, but no one's gonna. Not many people, unless you're really serious about privacy, is willing to pay for it.
They don't sell the browser. They sell a VPN.
They
sell a VPN. The browser's free.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but
yeah,
I don't care about private.
Stop with the DuckDuckGo hate for a second, dude.
Okay.
I mean, like,
I don't think DuckDuckGo can buy Chrome.
Definitely not. No, your point about
like the business model is challenged.
I mean, listen, it's either going to go to Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, or OpenAI.
Right.
I mean, it's one of those four companies.
Yeah.
Right. X can't buy it. X doesn't have enough money to buy it. So it's one of those four companies that could buy it.
Or some Chinese company or something else.
Sure. And, or that.
And so the government's picking, I don't know, one of those four companies to advantage over Google. It's like a waste of time and effort. I don't know why they're doing it.
Again, logic. All right, New York Times, a startling admission from a GOP senator. In quotes, "We are all afraid." This is Lisa Murkowski, the longtime senator from Alaska. She's independent. She was not MAGA. She survived the primary out there. Mm-hmm. So she does have some, political power. But she is still.
And she got attacked. And so she also is, survived an attack.
Yes. And I mean, I think what she's doing here is she is coming out. She's admitting that she's afraid. But she's saying, we have to stand up, for real conservative, real Republican values. So, I mean, obviously, incredibly brave thing for her to do, and an important thing to say that she is afraid of the leadership in her own party.
Yes, and I think. I've never seen this before. Like a lot of things, we're in new territory. And it's not okay. Like the way our government works, she is supposed to, all the senators and Congress people are supposed to represent their own district. And if they are afraid of retaliation, by definition, someone is trying to encourage them to consider things that are not representing their own district. That's what it means to be afraid of retaliation. Now, whether they stand up to it or they don't stand up to it, I don't think that's good for democracy. And I mean, this is not surprising, but it's pretty surprising that it's a U.S. senator saying that out loud publicly.
So I would go to a different place, and I would say MAGA is very powerful on social, and they can direct many people to, at a minimum, people and bots to troll, call, email, send mail, and intimidate people. I think that's, look. That doesn't seem to be very controversial at this point. I
think anyone can do that.
Well,
it is true that MAGA is doing it, I think.
Well, anyone can do it, but no one can do it like them now.
Yeah.
The two most influential people in the MAGA movement both have their own social media platforms that they own.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
And you can't say that for really anybody else in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
So those are powerful tools that they have at their disposal, right? And of course, like, they're tools. They literally control the distribution. Yeah, they don't just have accounts on them with a lot of followers. Right. They control the platforms, right? So that was my read. My read was
Yeah.
not like, hey, we want you to do something that's not in the best interest of your constituents. When I see the word afraid, I take that at like, no. Actually afraid. Actually in fear. I mean, what happened to Mike Pence in the airport?
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking,
Yeah.
you know.
It's bad either way. I mean, I don't know where we go from here, but this was a thing just to bring up and talk about because it's a problem.
Because it's happening.
Yeah, it's happening.
It's
and
part
it's
of what's happening in America right now.
Yes.
Right? It's part of what's happening in America. All right, moving to payers. Elevance Health execs seek to ease Wall Street's concerns about elevated MA costs.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Last week, United Health Group missed earnings, and
yes,
we were surprised about that. I think a lot of people were surprised about that. And I made the assumption that it was going to be really difficult across all payers. But then Elevance came out and beat earnings, and we have a couple other stories as well. Several payers have come out, beating or meeting expectations.
Yep.
So there's something else going on. I don't know exactly what it is, but Elevance was very clear that they met their earnings. They also, didn't have the same kind of medical loss ratio growth. So they performed well. And that's just new because United Health Group has been a really strong performer for decades, and something else is happening there. Now, it may be a temporary thing, United Health Group is very complex, so it's hard to see from the outside.
Yeah.
But that's just a change in my thought process from last week, which is why, it's interesting to cover anyway, but that kind of dichotomy between the two was striking.
Elevance appears to be a very well managed company.
Yes.
And so is United. So they're going to have strong responses to these things. I think in the case of United, it was almost impossible for them to not have the quarter they had after the year they had. Mm-hmm. And I hate to sort of simplify it that way.
Yeah.
But when an organization is impacted in the way that they're like they're not robots, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not robots. They're people. And they just basically had 12 months of trauma.
Yeah. At
the end of the day. So I don't know. To me, I just kind of chalked up that quarter to what happens when you have 12 months of like really, really serious sustained trauma. Well, you probably miss a quarter.
Right.
You probably miss a quarter, Yeah. And I think Elevance's response here is measured, Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Centene CEO London weighs in on state of Medicaid cuts, enhanced ACA subsidies on the Hill.
Yeah, so that's fine. He's weighing in. She's weighing in. But they hit their earnings and they, firm guidance. They're much more of a Medicaid.
Yeah, they're a Medicaid player
side. So they didn't really address all the changes. And so she is lobbying and maybe hoping that there won't be a lot of changes, but I think they're.
The MLR is 87.5. It's not awesome, but it's also not like it's not in the 90s.
Yeah.
So, given all the changes that we've got going on, last year they took their big knock on redeterminations, but I think they took their medicine quickly. So they're not really dealing with that anymore. So
So we'll see what happens with Medicaid.
Yeah.
As far as changes going forward.
Yes.
But they had a good quarter.
Yeah. Molina reports mixed Q1, says Medicaid rates are increasing. The California-based insurers results were good enough, one analyst said.
Yeah.
Another mostly
Medicaid player. And same. They were fine. And so we now are seeing, I think, several payers. We don't have Humana and Cigna yet, but I agree. It's more likely that an interim thing at UHG than a system-wide thing.
Yeah. I think we're going to have to really watch Centene and Molina in particular very, very closely. They're not.
Yeah.
It's not correct to say they're pure play government, but I mean they're 80% plus.
Right. Right.
That's their book of business, and these changes, these cuts that we just talked about that are coming down from the GOP. It's like, how much does it actually impact MLR? How much does that impact administrative costs, and then how much does it impact MLR? And I'm not entirely sure about that, based on it's like work clearances and, matching on the ACA market. I'm like, does that really impact MLR in a meaningful way? Or does that just pinch the providers downstream of the payer? And
I don't think anyone knows. My guess is that it does, because it's going to pull people off coverage who don't need coverage.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're healthy,
you
don't have the tax subsidies, or
it's going to change the census.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
Yeah. No, that's a important point. HCA Healthcare beats profit estimates on strong demand for medical care.
Yeah. So HCA delivered. They came out this morning. I was kind of worried about their performance, but they're good operators. They delivered.
Yeah.
So they're, they
continue to.
They have headwinds, but it's
HCA.
Yeah, right.
It's HCA. Flu volumes, payer battles, policy uncertainty takes center stage during CHS's Q1 earnings.
Yeah. CHS also met their earnings.
Good for them.
So they're holding on.
Yeah, they offloaded that health system to Ascension. I'm sure getting that done helped.
Yes.
Helped quite a bit. Rite Aid prepares to sell itself in pieces for second bankruptcy. They just got out of bankruptcy last year, right?
Yeah, I don't understand why you need two bankruptcies. It's just over my head. But yes, I guess they're gonna go into bankruptcy again.
Yeah, it was just in September of last year that they emerged out of bankruptcy.
The way I understand it, you agree with your creditors while you're in the protection of Chapter 11, and then you come out and can operate. And something happened, but I don't know what happened, but something.
The pro forma didn't land.
Yeah, or they were supposed to sell something.
Whatever they're supposed to hit didn't happen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think about it like a bridge round in VC. Okay, we need a little bit more cash. Here's here's what we're gonna do. Okay, we give them the bridge, and then they miss that too, right? I mean, happens all the time.
Yeah,
happens all the time. Into pharma, Merck cuts 2025 outlook on tariffs and charges. CEO feels confident in company's current inventory and manufacturing strategy.
Yeah, so they are, as we get into pharma, there's much more issues around tariffs.
Yeah, of course.
So that's where they're.
But their first quarter net income increased, driven by Keytruda sales reaching a little over $5 billion, up from $4.76 billion year over year. So, their flagship stuff is still selling very, very well.
Yeah.
But it's more the outlook.
It's more the outlook, and it's hard to know if they are hedging or really concerned. I don't know that it matters.
But you probably have to hedge, right? I don't think you can.
Yeah, unlike the HCA, CHS, all these U.S. based companies, they don't have as much exposure. Not that they have no exposure to tariffs, but they have
but it's not the same.
Right.
It's not core to their top line.
Right.
Not core to the top line. Roche to invest $50 billion in the U.S. manufacturing R&D as tariffs loom. The company said it would export more medicines from the U.S. than it imports once its new manufacturing plant becomes operational. So Roche joining J&J in the U.S. investment game.
That's right. So that's the way to try to offset tariffs.
I mean, look,
which is good.
You got J&J, you got Eli Lilly, Novartis, and now Roche. I mean, Trump is going to be able to say, look at all this investment that I've spurred in the first 100 days. I mean, fair play. That's over 100 billion. It's actually 150 billion between those four. 50 billion with Roche, 23 billion with Novartis, 55 billion with J&J, and 27 billion with Eli Lilly. It's 150 billion.
And these are good jobs. I mean, it's manufacturing, but it's manufacturing of pharmaceuticals. It's pretty good job. But the there's going to be a timing issue for the Trump administration. I think you can't build the manufacturing plant and hire people as quickly as you can lay off people. So it's going to be.
But narrative wise, those are 4 really strong data points. Especially, they all happened in the first 100 days of his term.
And I think as a direct, none of these companies were going to do it otherwise.
There's no way you can say these were not a direct result of his actions.
That's
no way. So that's we were talking about the ledger of like how effective he's been. I think this is one area. R&D spending from pharma is one area where you can definitely say
and tech too. There's NVIDIA. I can't quote it, but NVIDIA is doing something at Houston. It's like $50 billion or some big number like that.
That's and then there is some foreign direct investment. At least we know the Saudis have
they're
committed,
at least working on it.
The shingles vaccine appears to lower dementia risk.
Yeah, so I put this in the kind of the more about health and us thing. I got the shingles vaccine because I've had shingles and it is rough.
You had how old were you when you got shingles? Have I known you when you had it?
It was on my wedding day.
Okay, so I didn't know you.
You didn't know me. But it's really painful and terrible.
You got shingles on your freaking wedding day?
Yes. My parents were very stressful at my wedding. Nothing to do with my wife, but but
this stressed you out, and you got the shingles from that.
Yeah, so honeymoon was not as fun as it could have been.
No way. Did you get a second honeymoon? Did you make up for it?
I mean, I've had several trips, but didn't have an actual second honeymoon. But
that breaks my heart for you, man.
Yeah, but it was enough that I remember it now, and so I got the shingles vaccine when I could, and now I think it is giving me protection against Alzheimer's, which is not why I got it, but good. And so there's a study in JAMA that we will link to. This is the journal story. It was a study in Australia.
And what age do they recommend you start getting shingles? Is it 45 or 50?
I think it's 50. I think it's 50. I'm
50?
not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I know my doc hasn't talked to me about it, and I'm not 50 yet. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think you should get it. And then it's also I've heard some people have like ear trouble with shingles. They could get shingles and it goes into their inner ear. I heard one person lost hearing in an ear. But anyway, shingles is bad.
Yeah, and so this is the link to
this is the actual study, because a lot of our audience would prefer the actual study.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right, moving to our AI rundown. So starting with the AP, ex-OpenAI workers ask California and Delaware AGs to block the for-profit conversion of the ChatGPT maker. I don't think that's going to work.
Which part?
Well, I don't think Delaware is going to do anything controversial right now because they're losing their ass in corporation fees. So I don't think that's going to work. Maybe California does it, but I cannot see Delaware doing it right now. They're too spooked.
Yeah. I just think it's something to follow because many of OpenAI's fundraising rounds, the last 2 or 3, require them to turn into a for-profit. I think by the end of this year. Or they claw the money back.
Interesting.
And it's one thing when Elon Musk and Zuckerberg write letters because they are competitors. Yeah. Right. But these people have no reason to bother. They
do. No, they work there. They know things and they're worried. I mean,
they're former employees.
Yeah, it's not quite whistleblowing, but it's in the universe. You know what I mean? It's not quite whistleblowing, but it's in the universe.
Well, I think that they actually believe that OpenAI originally was meant to create artificial general intelligence for mankind, and that moving to a for-profit inherently would realign the governance structure. That's the whole reason they're doing it.
Of course.
And so it's a whistleblower, I guess, or they're trying to stop this transition. I don't know if it'll work or not, but it's something to follow because
I don't think it works. I don't think it works. Newsom is trying to show the strength of California's economy. Yeah. I think he would prefer to have OpenAI as a for-profit company that adds to his bolstering economy. and Delaware can't do it because they can't afford to lose any more business to Texas. So I think basically this doesn't happen, but interesting story. All right. Moving over to VentureBeat, a new open source text-to-speech model called Dia has arrived to challenge 11 Labs, OpenAI, and more. Who makes this one?
So this is interesting because two people raised no money and they built this text-to-speech model themselves in, I guess, a couple months. And now it is as good as these other models. So I just wanted to bring it up just to show that the acceleration of like using the existing tools to build new tools. I mean, they did it with no money and then they just put on Hugging Face for free.
Well,
now Google helped them.
So we gotta dig in here. So one of the two founders is named Toby Kim, and he credited Google for giving him and his collaborator access to Google's TPUs. That's their tensor processing unit. That's their proprietary, chip that they use for just a GPU, basically, for training Dia through Google's Research Cloud. So they leverage Google's resources to build the frontier model, right? So like, I mean, it's no money, but they found an ally, who handled that part for them, and that's a really interesting way that AI cloud providers can play in this arms race, right? Like they don't need to actually do the work. They can just let smart people leverage their resources to build competitive products to the core, frontier models. That's going to make it really, really hard to stop the open source part of LLMs, and that's very good. I still don't think these models just don't have brand or distribution at the end of the day. But we don't need that. What we need, we need comparable open source alternatives as innovators, right? As venture capitalists that we can embed inside of our companies where the licenses are free and clear for total commercial use, not llama, and quite frankly, not DeepSeek, where in the US we're going to end up having all these issues for embedding a Chinese model in our even if we download it and it's open source and we cut it off from all the original DeepSeek servers. It doesn't matter. Like it's a Chinese asset at the end of the day. We need more American open source models that are not llama, both for the license issue, but also for the quality of the damn model. It's just not, llama's not good enough right now.
Yeah, I agree completely. And what's interesting is that these two founders didn't like the quality of Notebook LM's automated podcast thing. Yeah. Because it's
generic.
It's generic. Yeah.
It's generic. It's generic.
It's okay, but it's not great.
It's a good parlor trick.
Yeah, right. And, everyone's picking on Google for being a monopolist, but to their credit, they allowed these two founders to create a replacement for Notebook LM, which is their product, for free.
They made the transformer.
And they gave it away. So
like what? They made Kubernetes. Like the number of things that Google has made and given away. Android.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, the number of things that Chrome is Chromium. It's open source. I use this browser is Brave. It's not Chrome.
Yeah.
It's based on the Chromium code base.
Yes. So it's healthy for the whole ecosystem.
Yes.
So yes, that's the only point.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess earlier when we were talking about Google, I didn't stand up for them insofar as like I'm much more happy to see Meta broken up than Google.
Yeah.
I like Google, and I'm
the same way. I think Instagram should be spun off. Totally. I'll be all in favor of that.
Totally. Yeah. And look, I think if you're going to attack Google as a monopoly, I would just say YouTube is the right place to do it. It's a standalone. It immediately becomes the number one streaming service in the world.
And it would be probably net positive for Google shareholders.
I think it would because YouTube would be able to just totally focus on just dominating that space. Right. All the Google shareholders would have their ownership in YouTube, and Google would be able to totally focus on what it needs to do because Google needs to evolve from search to AI. Google needs to be an AI company at this point, a full-on AI company, right? And so that would be how I would position it. But I like Google. They've done a lot of good things, and they're just on the wrong side of Elon. Honestly, that's what I think's happening. They're on the wrong side of Elon.
Yeah.
Okay, The Verge. IGN and CNET owner Ziff Davis sues OpenAI. Okay.
So this is another thing that I'm following that you're going to say is not going to matter. I think it just is something to follow.
Yeah. No. It is something to follow.
Ziff Davis has a lot of
websites,
a lot of content.
Oh, dude, they're like the
control.
OG.
Right.
I mean, CNET. That's OG.
Yes.
That's Tech TV, man.
I mean, that's like about the net. That's a lot.
CNET. That's old school, man.
Yeah.
That's like back when you and I met.
Right.
CNET was really popular, right? Okay. TechCrunch. Oh God, we were laughing at this one earlier. Columbia student suspended over interview cheating tool raises $5.3 million to cheat on everything.
Yeah. So these two guys were Columbia University students, and they created a way to have an kind of an in-browser little side window open.
Yeah.
So that they could cheat on their coding tests for job searches.
Yep.
And they got caught and I think kicked out of Columbia. Or suspended, I guess, maybe not kicked out. And so they have now launched, they moved to San Francisco, launched Cluely, and the tagline is cheat on everything. And they're using this technology to help everyone cheat on their interviews or cheat on wherever, which I don't know. I guess it's the American way, but it also just feels like another thing that's, our society's going the wrong direction. I don't know.
I mean, but there's a real question about this, right? Like, is it, should we be focused on tests anymore? Like that's a real question. Yeah. Should we be focused on tests anymore? We're freaking 2 years away from AGI, Vic.
Right. Yeah, I think that's right. That's the question. Is this spell check? Right,
yeah.
So,
yes.
I cannot spell.
Right,
I mean, I think I'm dyslexic. It doesn't matter. I wasn't diagnosed as dyslexia when I was growing up. Yeah. I can't spell.
How's your signature?
My signature is terrible.
Right.
And I forever in school got negative marks on spelling. And then now I don't worry about spelling. Like I read an email. There's 6 words that are spelled wrong.
They're all highlighted.
I just correct them and move on. And I think they would argue that the AI is the next calculator, the next spell check, the next tool for sort of helping humans focus on what they're good at. And
by the way, what kind of world have we given these 21-year-olds to get excited about? I mean, good for them. Raise money to troll all of us. Cheat on everything. Great. I mean,
it's a good tagline. I mean, it's clear.
A great tagline.
Yeah.
It's a great tagline. And look, I just, you talk about what direction we're going in. Again, full disclosure, college dropout, went to UVA, just did hip hop, smoked weed, didn't, I wrote about it in my book. I've been talking about this for a long time. So, but when I dropped out, that actually was detrimental because the college degree was actually very valuable in 93. Okay. What we're running into right now between this reorienting of the world, this new world order, the changing world order that we're entering, plus AI, this is going to make the GFC look like, a brownout.
Yes, that's right.
In terms of the value of these degrees.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, man. I don't know.
Listen, I have one son is a sophomore in college, one who's about to go to college. And there is no replacement for it, but it's clearly not working.
It's expiring. Yeah, it's not expiring insofar as its role of maturing these
Yeah.
young people socially,
Yeah.
right?
Move away,
Getting them out of the house,
interact with other people,
Yes.
live on your own, but in a reasonably controlled place where
That's
like
right.
I know there's food available for my son at Tulane.
That's right.
He's not going to starve.
That's right.
Where if I sent him to New Orleans by himself, there's a decent chance he wouldn't be able to find
Exactly.
food.
So there's all these like societal safe bubble lessons you can learn over the course of the 4 years.
Yeah.
Have some responsibilities where it's literally on you to get them done. If you don't get them done, you can't blame mom or dad.
Right.
You can't blame the teachers because this institution's been here for 100+ years. So, like they ain't going to change.
Yeah.
You sink or swim. So there's all of those things about it that are good, but the actual information you're learning, okay, and the value of the degree, those two things. Let's separate those two things. So then you ask yourself, is there a cheaper way to do those first things we talked about?
I think there is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're paying for the knowledge and the credential. The other things are amenities.
Right.
But that's not the core value when Harvard tells you you're going to pay, $500,000, right? Over the course of the 4 years that your kid is going there.
Yeah. That's right. And when I say there's not a good replacement, there's an implied value in the price, and there's an attraction of like-minded students from around the world that show up there.
Sure.
And if you don't have that center of gravity or that thing, there's nothing to pull everyone to New Orleans, Boston, Nashville, wherever, around a common thing. And so I don't think college and university I think it is expiring, but I don't know what the next thing is.
Yeah, I think it's an incredible opportunity for innovation and entrepreneurship. Biology with his network, state stuff. He created like some network state fellowship where he's offering like $100K grants or whatever to people to like just come live and build a network state. And in that case, he's paying you. Yeah, you're not paying him, right? So I'm like, couldn't we like organize some space and some learning tracks and some outcomes and on the other side, you come out with some IP you own. I can think of a bullet point list. Here's some IP you own. You're gonna get jacked. You're gonna learn how to totally shop for yourself and how to cook. You're gonna learn how to date and how to meet somebody in real life. And you're gonna walk out with like your first business. The business could fail, but like you will have totally built a business. Right. And you pay, I don't know, $20,000 a year.
Right. You don't have all this debt.
For all that?
Yeah.
I mean
Palantir. You see Palantir's thing that you can come out of high school to Palantir and they'll hire you and they teach you everything.
They'll teach you everything. Sure. Yeah. Why? Of course. So anyway, I mean, I think, and I love these kids' faces, right? Good, like good for them. And I mean, if this is the path that Gen Z takes, I'm totally cool with it because the world we have set up for them is a freaking joke. Yeah. It is a joke. So like, good for them. Cheat on everything. That was a diatribe, man, but whatever. All right. TechCrunch. Chinese AI startup Manus. This is your favorite. Yeah. You love them. I can't even get into the app. Reportedly gets funded from Benchmark at a $500 million valuation. Yeah.
$75 million, 500. And it's interesting that Benchmark, which is one of the oldest and best known
U.S.
right? Yeah, is investing in a Chinese company.
Well, it's not interesting because Bill Gurley is, he's pretty pro-China, man. I mean, like, have you listened to BG2?
Yeah.
He's not like that fond of this whole China thing that we're doing right now.
Yeah, and Manus is great. I mean, it is the first agent that I think really works. So.
I think it's a big deal. I think it's a big deal. Yeah. I'm waiting for. I've kind of decided at this point, my world is inside of Google Workspace. Yeah, right. That's the reality. My world is inside of Google Workspace. It's where my email is. It's where all my docs are. I've been organizing stuff there. It's where all my assets are for well over a decade, both on Jumpstart and personally. Yeah. I'm just waiting for. I'm waiting for.
Gemini 2.5 is badass.
Yes, exactly.
It just doesn't. They don't have that. packaged into an agent yet.
Exactly. I'm just waiting for them to get their agent act together. And then also I'm looking at things like Claude that are integrating with Google Workspace, right? Like, but I've just kind of decided if data is how you're going to make this thing, it's got to integrate with Google Workspace because that is where all my data is. That's where
Manus integrates with Google Workspace.
It does?
Yeah. I have it connected.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It pulls your emails and your docs and all that kind of stuff?
Not emails, but the docs.
Yeah, see. The emails is like...
I mean, we've talked about this. The interface to email, Slack, Asana, I mean, there's like 5 interfaces I need.
Sure.
Are the hardest part. But I think Google doesn't allow integration deeply into docs, I think on purpose.
Yeah.
So you can't get an API into that unless you're Google.
Yeah, but now every app you open with Google, it's like, let Gemini talk to your stuff.
Right.
Which is great. I mean,
it's great.
Look, distribution is still a superpower.
Yeah. And it
is still a superpower.
There's Microsoft distribution and Google distribution in America. Basically. Those are the two.
Yes, that's right. Okay. New York Times. China has an army of robots on its side in the tariff war. Enormous investments in factory equipment and artificial intelligence are giving China an edge in car manufacturing and other industries. No duh. Yeah.
So for a long time, I have, and everyone has been pointing to China's demographic problem. And that's right. They don't have enough people. But they are getting really strong with robots. Old logic. I don't know if they need it.
Isn't that old logic?
Yeah, it's old. It's old thinking.
That was where the first principle was: the foundational unit of productivity is a human being.
Yes, and that is
no longer the truth.
That's not a first principle.
That's not a first principle anymore, right?
Yes.
So I'm tired of people talking about the birth rates are going to decline society. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, what is it? Are we going to have AGI and robots taking over all the jobs? Like, which one is it? Which one is it?
Yeah, I mean, so we're going to have next week Ben Lytle as a guest host. He's great. He did Silver Sneakers, CEO of Anthem. He makes the claim that the birth rate reduction sort of is one of the factors driving the robotics and AI growth. Sure. It's all intertwined, but that's the new
birth rate reduction plus increased diagnosis of autism plus increased mental health issues plus you know what I mean? Like it's myriad factors, right? It's myriad factors. Like we just are going to have less productive humans.
Yeah. And so China is, I think they're ahead of us.
More prepared than we gave them credit for.
Right. Yes.
More prepared than we gave them credit for. All right, final story. Wall Street Journal. In a first, scientists sent quantum messages a record distance over a traditional network. Breakthrough brings down the cost of quantum communication and integrates it into, this is important, existing infrastructure. They were able to achieve quantum communication across 158 miles using existing fiber optic cables. So they didn't need all the expensive cryogenic cooling to move these qubits across fiber optic networks.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
This was there were a lot of stories this week that were interesting. This is the one that I think is just, really changes the game again. Quantum computers are quickly coming into reality.
They're becoming real.
I mean, it was 6 months ago we were talking about the first chips.
Yes.
And now not only are they using quantum to send messages, but as you pointed out, it's integrated into the existing infrastructure, which just dramatically changes sort of the adoption, obviously.
Yeah. And so this article was really, really important. So I'm really appreciative that you found it. A few things. One, not needing the super expensive, crazy looking cryo machine that looks like it's out of Metropolis. Right. Okay. So that's one. That's mind blowing.
Right.
To me, that's the equivalent of DeepSeek. Right.
Yeah.
Being done without a single NVIDIA chip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where now all of a sudden you can do this anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is everything I've been reading about quantum has all been focused on these crazy looking Metropolis computers crunching everything, not communication, not transporting, packages of information in a quantum package, right? Which they call a photon, right?
Yeah, like sort of a process, like a chip process the information.
Yeah. Like that's not what I've been reading about, right? I've been reading about just we're going to use these quantum computers to destroy cryptography.
Yeah.
Where in fact, this is actually talking about quantum encryption. This is talking about a next level of encryption capability for data across our existing fiber optic networks.
Yes, which would be dramatically, exponentially safer and cheaper and faster.
So everything about this article got me super excited about quantum, right? Because it feels like it's not going to be this kind of like Microsoft only game. I mean, it was Toshiba. These are researchers at Toshiba who pulled this off, right? This is, I mean, when was the last time you heard the name Toshiba?
Yeah, I didn't know they were still around.
Yeah, right. You know, so that like this is really, really, really an exciting development, and I hope it's not just like this thing that gets put into a drawer.
Well,
and
I mean,
goes
they published
somewhere.
it in Nature, and I would expect that other people will try to replicate it.
Yeah,
and
it's a big deal.
They're talking about like 18 to 24 months. So everything is just happening very quickly.
It's all just compressing. It's all compressing. And then you know, also because of the difference of qubits versus bits, I think you're also getting a lot more information across these, you know, these fiber optic cables.
Yeah, which then increases the overall capacity of everything. Right? So you can put Netflix times 100.
Like that's.
Yeah, I don't know even how to use all that capacity, but
but
we
you
can
know
figure
what?
it out. We can figure it out. Yeah,
Parkinson's law. We will figure it out, right? You know what I mean? We will expand anything to the time and space we're given, right? So
and there's a lot of healthcare applications that need significant speed and low latency and data.
Yeah,
so that could be good. We might be doing surgeries from a distance.
Yep,
which we haven't been able to do because of the latency issues.
Yeah, so. Man, what a time to be alive, man.
Exciting.
What a time to
Lots
be alive,
going on, a lot of scary stuff in the news, but also exciting stuff in the news.
What a time to be alive. It's crazy. Happy to be going through it with you.
Yeah.
Sad I'm going to miss the episode with Ben next week. So I expect you will crush it.
Yes.
And other than that, I will see you next week, my friend.
Yeah.